I sang you all my sorrows. You told me all your joys. Whatever happened to all those old songs, all those little girls and boys? I'm not singing for the future. I'm not dreaming of the past. I'm not talking of the first times. I never think about the last. Now my song is nearly over. I'll never know exactly what it means. Still there's a light I hold before me. You are the measure of my dreams. What happens to the human psyche when it first realizes it's embodied in a thing that can't fly? What happens to the human psyche that refuses to accept this as a fact? What happens to a fact if the imagination flies away with it? Is a fly a thing of beauty? Must the thing of beauty remain a thing forever? Are human beings grounded by their limitations, or are they sculptured into beauty because of them? Is the beauty of a human being grounded in the fact that it can't fly, but every now and then its spirit can take wings, soar above this too particular occasion with a certainty of purpose that defies all fear of flying, falling, or failing to be as one with everything there is, was, and ever shall be? Is it possible for one human being to release the equivalent energy of all humanity? Can the part in truth speak for the whole? Is all life, all experience, all knowledge, all wisdom always contained in the most minute moment and physique of every living being? And can this moment be exploded to reveal the workings of the universe? And if human beings could see the workings of the universe, would this improve our relationship with our neighbors, or merely condemn us to knowing that only our own illusions live next door? We flirt with phantoms, and there's a price to be paid for flirting with phantoms, no less than desiring the sun and the sun only. Give me the sun, mother, denying the moon its fact as fiction, fiction as fact, our own bronzed heroes in a common humanity that pales in comparison, slaves to our passions, narcissists drowning in the mirror of a pool of our desperate yearning not to dance alone in this dance of death to a senseless, soulless demise. If only she had eyes, only for me. That blush of ancient maidenhood, it all but takes my breath away. I mumble, I murmur, I mutter, I stutter. She whispers, what is it that you want from me? Beggars at the feast, dumbfounded, dumb waiters at the gourmet's table, in the lap of the gods whose napkins are already so soiled and stained with the blood from so many ancient consummations, gluttony without grace, spilling their unnatural seed all over the place. It all but takes my natural breath away. I had this startling revelation in my early teens that my dreams were more real than my flesh and blood. Not my daydreams, which were too easily explained and understood, rationalized, possibly materialized, fathomably realized. It was the unfathomably immaterial that either kept me warm at night or woke me up in a hot or cold sweat. There were no steps I could take to demonstrate their truth, no ladder I needed to climb to prove I was reaching or failing to reach the top. No first, second, or third rung, no ladder at all. No confusion of dreams with ambitions which were being fed to me daily, all these possibilities I could and should aspire to, all of which ended in unfathomable death. It made no sense. Neither did my dreams. One way or another, I was bound to live nonsensically. But unlike my dreams, my ambitions demanded the demonstrable. My dreams demanded only my fascination. And their sheer unfathomability and unpredictability implied a much higher being than always being demanded of. I had nothing to prove. The proof of that was in my dreams. We must start from the central nucleus of an object as it strives for realization, to discover the laws relating it invisibly, inextricably, mathematically, poetically, ingeniously to the plastic infinity without. So there'll be no doubt where one object ends and another objection begins. It is the great mystery of God's rationale. Reality becomes that indistinct possibility made utterly coherent on its own spatial and temporal terms. This world is such, this natural world, is such a delicate web, so uncrudely strung together, it would make the heart stop beating to own it as anything less than glorious. We're in a room, a big room. A very big room. A roomy room, an enormous room. Without a view, there is no view. The room is the view, a panoramic interior. And there's a stairway, a great stairway, a stairway to the stars, where heaven awaits amid beautiful plush dappled pumpkin coverlets. A body may sleep there in peace forever. And the wall along the stairway is lined with paintings, great paintings, portraits of judges and their families, a history of the civilized world from one judgment to the next, oily decisiveness ascending chronologically. And the walls of this room are lined with cabinets, great cabinets of oak and teak and cedar wood, on top of which are great piles of documents, legal documents, documents that rule the world. And a stepladder. There's a stepladder to reach the documents. And a typewriter. An ancient typewriter. And an umbrella all tangled up in the typewriter, and the stepladder with broken wheels. Have you never had one of those days? Have you never had one of those days when you can't sit still, you can't relax? You can't stop your head just going round and round and round, over and over and over the same thoughts, what you should be doing, what you could be doing, what you're expected to be doing. You had everything planned, you had the whole day mapped out, and suddenly something or somebody threw a Frenchman in the works, and now you have the whole day free. A couple of days before, you were moaning about having no time to do this, no time to do that. Now you have the whole day free, but you can't do anything. You can't stop your head just going round and round and round, over and over the same thoughts. Why? Whose fault is it? Why can't I just get on with my life, do something useful, purposeful? All this time on my hands. Time to think, the greatest luxury. But too much luxury, too little quality. When suicide becomes a fantasy of revenge on yourself or on a world you no longer even try to understand. Sometimes I feel I spent so much of my life alone, learning how best to express how lonely life is. C'est vrai, c'est pathétique. Mais c'est juste, mes amis. C'est perfectement juste. An artist il faut. It is necessary alone to be or not to be. Comme les oiseaux aiment le ciel. Parce que le ciel, ça ne fait rien. Je me souviens de votre cœur insouciant dont le vent religieux m'embrasse. Et je resterai toujours. L'amour, l'amour, toujours l'amour. It is the cause. It is the cause, my whole, your whole, the whole between us, c'est tout. C'est la vie complète. Mais c'est juste, mes amis. C'est parfaitement juste. Petite fille de cat, est-ce que le chat, il a mangé? I incline. I tilt. I lean to one side. I swing. I sway. I bend over backwards. I dress extravagantly. I dress like a beggar. I'm unusual, not what anybody ever expected. I am poised, ready to give chase. I am poised, ready to leap into the abyss. I am poised in an extraordinary manner. I move against the grain. I move with the grain. I mean grain, the grain of sand, the grain of salt, the grain of truth. No rain, no grain. I'm the corny heartland of the new world. The undisputed champion of the Liberty Bell. I'm an evil lady in waiting. I shock, I titillate, I try your patience, I uplift your spirit, I swim in an ocean of profundity, I skim the surface of momentary delight, I escape through trapdoors, but I always turn up somewhere else. I'm a magician with a steel wand and iron rod. An adaptable attitude to crudity and refinement. I love to turn up at weddings and funerals, wearing nothing but a tulip clipped to my left nipple. I'm a thief, I'm a villain, I'm a house detective. I am the daughter of a greedy and belligerent weapons manufacturer. I'm the son of a junkie, I'm the father of a junkie. I am a junkie. I am a jewel in the ring of fire, a store filled with surprises, supplying all your daily needs. I'm a mendicant spirit sticking out my tongue at the male organ. I'm a saint sticking up my halo at the female reproductive system. I'm a time priest. I'm a real bloody piece of work. I am a handsome and unscrupulous soldier of fortune. I'm a street-cornered prostitute. I'm a central bank dispensing free will with interest. I'm a dumb show. I'm a face floating through a crowded scene of unparalleled opulence. I'm a dust bunny blowing smoke on the wings of a butterfly. I'm a love letter. I'm a vengeful nose looking down on the hairs that it's just about to split. I am a witness to my own crime, a jury of my own peers. I'm a 3 strikes, you're out. I am poised in an extraordinary manner, and I shall ritualistically drink champagne before I leap into the abyss. Sing to me of humanity in all its twists and turns and memory that can make the comic tragic, the tragic comic, the mundane magnificent, bring the magnificent down to earth. Speak to me in poetry and paint and music and marble that binds us to the bloom, even after the blossom is withered. Amuse me with creation so I may never be uninspired. But did you feed the cat? Est-ce que le chat, il a mangé? Well, I think I thought, quel dommage. Je l'oubliais. I forgot to feed the cat. Mon Dieu, le chat, il est mort. And if I die today, sing no sad songs for me. Plant no roses at my head, nor shady cypress tree, no mournful words, no solemn prayers, no sermons on no mounting tears. Now I am safely dead. No epitaphs, no hymns of praise to mark the passing of my days. Now my risen sun has finally set. Remember if you will, or yet, feel free to freely and simply forget the things we once have seen. We see no more. Shades of the prison house closed upon the growing boy. At length, the man perceives the light of joy has faded into common day, forgets the simple creed of childhood, the faith that looks through death and sees but the innocent brightness of a newborn day, and thoughts that often lie too deep for tears. The gentlest morning breeze may blow away all fears that what once was may not forever be. It may look like a duck, it may walk like a duck, it may quack like a duck, but it could still be a decoy. I'm going to read something now. This is a good one. These are strange times. Maybe the times have always been strange, and I was just too busy to notice. Most of the strange things that happen to me seem to have nothing to do with the times. Maybe my life has been too personal for my own good. Should I start feeling bad about it now? Now I appear to be behind the times. I keep looking at the clock, and it always seems to be later than I thought. I've always had a tenuous relationship to the times as a mediated proposition of countless options how to keep up with it and the perils of losing touch with it. Now I seem to be dangling by a thread. After so many odd years in this world, my personal end times drawing ever closer, should I be more or less afraid of that total eclipse of the sun, some stray comet, or meteorite crashing into the earth, nuclear war, Armageddon, the fire next time, alien invasion, cancer, dementia, simple senility at the mercy of the men in white coats or the men in black suits, the skeletal fracturing and dismantling of this body I've grown so habituated to. Experience seems to be telling me that fearlessness is only an option when you're fit enough to make a choice that you have no choice but to enter into the affray. Once you're unfit for useful intervention, is it time to get really personal or utterly transcendent? Some people like to sleep with the bedroom door closed for fear their dreams may escape them in the middle of the night. Others like to sleep with the door open for fear their dreams may be all they have. I speak only when my madness compels me to speak. I open my mind and it escaped me. I admit everything. Only a lunatic would do that. But isn't confession good for the soul? Perhaps my soul is still intact, only my mind fractured, my heart shattered, my body pierced to the bone, infection set in, no cure for it, only palliation of the symptoms. A pharmaceuticalized product of my own or somebody else's deranged flailings. In the red corner, slings and arrows. In the blue corner, outrageous fortune. In the neutral corner, put money in thy purse. If you really want to get ahead in this world, I should take beauty into my heart and make a whore of it, a war of it, a battle to my own demise, freely, willingly leaping into the abyss to the lingering, longing refrains of go get 'em, Fido, the dogs of war, the demons of false hope. I admit everything. And with nothing to hide. It does make one very susceptible to phantoms, prophecies, possibly persecution, if only for lack of foresight. There seems to be much more resolution to secrecy, active bonding potential to shared guilt, innocence for babies and animals, wild or otherwise. There's a certainty to guilt that must always go beyond the pale, to survive and thrive at all costs. Only the guilty would sacrifice innocence on the altar of surviving and thriving at all cost. Collateral damage par for the course. Let's face it, some people can and do get away with murder and madness. Madness and suicide. The quintessential existential paradigms of philosophical debate, whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer absurdly in an absurd world, or to take absurdity into your own hands and make a quietus of it, either with a bare bodkin or a split-second leap of faith, or utter lack of a need from it from a very high place, the final stitch, or a total unraveling of this sweat and blooded straitjacket the world has knitted onto me since the day I was born, innocent as my mother's womb, or as guilty. Being considered absurd in an absurd world is akin to receiving a knighthood. I'm now a peer of my own realm, well able to scripture my own absurdities, cast off these unimmortal recoilings, these sickening pails of thought. I think, therefore I am. I feel, therefore I think I must be more than I think I am. I think too much, I think too little, I feel too little, I feel too much. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished, or a tragical comedy of errors. We live and we fail to learn. We took the bait and we got hooked. There may or may not be a before and after life, but if there is, I must already not be apart from it. I admit everything. The verdict's in. No closing argument. I rest my case. I admit everything. It's the only thing that makes perfect sense to speak for God in a godless world. A God who must have absolutely everything on his mind, but blessed with no body that needs to demonstrate how he got to be God in the first place. Perhaps he needed to experience himself in process, in one and the same breath, and no time at all. Nothing to need to admire, no excellence to feel incapable of living up to, no Rubicons to double-cross, the ultimate trope of unknowability. Only the lesser gods are knowable. An inferior breed of superior beings who must always go beyond the pale, commanding even the dust to defy its own nature. Torture means different things to different people. To some people it means having to do without. To others it means having to endure. To some it means never knowing if you're being tortured or not. There are worlds within worlds within worlds. And each world has a life of its own, and each life has its own ending. A good ending or a bad ending. Do we get to choose, or has it already been chosen on our behalf by some merciful creator? For let's face it, what creative impulse would not show mercy on their own creation? Or some merciless recreator, a faker, a fraud, a charlatan, a deceiver, a trickster, a mirror image doppelganger, god devil, who would sow the demon seeds of doubt and horror into the kindest of hearts and minds, so they'll realize they never had a choice, never did, and never will. And if that's not a bad ending, I don't know what is. Sometimes I walk the streets of the city, amazed at my capacity to withstand such utter loneliness. My emotional, oh, I gotta fuck that. Fuck that. My emotional disconnection from human beings is undoubtedly my greatest trial. Do human beings experience a similar despair? I find it impossible to believe. Feeling at home here must be 9/10 of what sanity is. Knowing my real home is in another world is bound to imbalance me towards madness and a terrifying willingness to share. For though I know my extraterrestrial being guarantees ultimate immunity from earthly trials, the supernature of my challenge is to experience them fully. Even though I know they're not real for me, I know I must feel the pain and suffering of every living being in this world, even if to all intents and purposes, I will be the one inflicting it. Farewell, happy fields, where joy forever dwells. Hail horrors, hail this infernal world, the profoundest hell. Receive thy new possessor, one who brings a mind not to be changed by place or time. The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a hell of heaven and a heaven of hell. No matter where, if I be but the same in what I should be, all but less than he whom thunder hath made greater. Here at least I shall be free. The Almighty hath not built here, for his envy will not drive me hence. Here I may reign secure, and in my choice, better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. And the dead tree gives no shelter, the cricket no relief, the dry stone no sound of water. But there is a shadow under this red rock. Come in under the shadow of this red rock, and I will show you something different than your shadow in the morning striding behind you, or your shadow in the evening rising up to meet you. In the twilight, kingdom shape without form, shade without color, whispering together like wind in dry grass, rat's feet over broken glass. Beware the vanishing truths, the doctrines of happiness. Beware the false prophecies, the inventions that astonish, the hands that tremble with satisfaction, the organizations deeply rooted in dimly lit gatherings. Beware the translucent nakedness of an unawakened consciousness, the sense of self that knows no other but itself. And are you ready to begin? Are you ready to be finished? Are you ready to be finished, to begin? This world has been ready to begin since time began, since space earth first opened it, but sex and desire and cruelty were born twins in one and the same excruciation. Nod your head, nod your head, shake your head, let your head speak for the world, and I will take your head and I will place your head on the shoulders of the world, so this world will see itself for what it truly is, for what it was before magic returned to reclaim the physical carcass it was originally offered. Don't be afraid. I have nothing to offer you but my magic, the tricks of my trade. Not even the foulest dog would seek revenge for an act already committed. The chains are not chains unless they are linked to something that never grows old and dies. Close your eyes. Close your eyes till your eyes see the darkness, till your eyes see through the darkness, till your eyes become the darkness. And in that darkness you will experience visions of light that light itself could never possibly shape. You will experience the knowledge that one step, even one step, one fumble, one tremble, but in a given direction, you will tumble into an abyss where human function has no design. You will fall into the belly between your own legs, and men will sing songs of a virgin's death, and women will be silent when men are satisfied, and the sexless screams of infinity will echo only in a mad dog's ears. So much power, so much strength, so much unnatural radiation, so warm, so secret, so perfectly sustainable. The universe itself must finally wince and choose its purpose afresh, and the dog will vanquish its own shadow. Follow me now. Follow me now up the ladder of sparks. See the light on the man who waits, yet the moon is dark, and far in the center, deep in the center, the crunching of bones, blood curdling like milk poisoned by the passion of dead minds. Follow me now, up the ladder of sparks, to the pool of peace, where the edge of silence spreads its wings between the breast and the belly of the universe. Not dust and wind, but a star shines softly on the brink of the world's lips. A world that weeps a bitter rain, that lives but is not refreshed, has mastered nothing even after all this time. Follow me now. Follow me now up the ladder of sparks. Sit within the hollow of the blackest cloud. In the darkest back streets of the wind, shake with rage, crawl like a dog unleashed, who has lost his will to wander, though the heart never ceases. Don't be afraid. You have nothing to fear. from a man with no sex, only oblivion. Something is about to happen now that has never happened before and will never happen again. Let it be duly noted that my final sensation was an awe-inspiring unwillingness to let go, as if there truly was something I've lost. And will she remember me fondly once the horror is over? Will she remember me at all when she is no longer what she was? There are some things that we know. There are some things that we know, some things we don't know. Some things we think we know, some things we thought we knew. Some things we don't know, and some things we know we'll never know because they're unknowable, but you never know. I could change my mind at any moment. Somebody comes along, tells me something I didn't know before, now I do. I can't go around pretending I don't, even if it was something I didn't really want to know, which could be a sign it might be something I really needed to know, but you never know. I just need to know I don't yet know enough to reach a final conclusion. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Do I know what I'm talking about? The wisdom of the ages, all this knowledge passed down from the ancients. Let's face it, a lot of people put a lot of thought into this. It didn't just spring up out of nowhere. Or if it did, maybe that's what I really need to know. I'm going nowhere. That place where nothing ever happens, but you'll never have to change your mind ever again because there'll be nobody around to tell you any different. Have you never thought you might be in the wrong place at the wrong time? And you came here for the wrong reasons. It seemed right at the time. So what went wrong? Did somebody give you the wrong information? Or did somebody give you the right information and you got it all wrong? So you got nobody to blame but yourself. Unless somebody did give you the wrong information at the wrong time for the wrong reasons. But why would anybody do that? If somebody gave you the wrong information, I'm sure they did it for the right reasons. Have you never told somebody something you knew was wrong because you thought it was the right thing to do at the time? Does a lie only truly become a deceit when you realize somebody really did give you the wrong information at the wrong time for the wrong reasons, just to make sure you never would get it right? Or was it all just a misunderstanding? I've always had a tendency to take somebody's word for it. Even if I think what they're telling me is wrong, I figure, well, they've definitely got a word for it. And I've always assumed nobody is telling me everything because nobody knows everything. I don't know everything. If I do, I'm not even telling myself. So I know nobody is telling me everything, especially when they're telling me we're not telling you everything. It's on a need-to-know basis. You don't need to know for your own good. Trust us. It's in your best interest. Trouble is, I've always been best interested in what somebody's not telling me, especially when they're telling me they're not telling me something that they know. I've got a word for it. Curiosity. The seeds of critical intelligence. But we all know what curiosity did, eh? A lot of cats being killed in the past few millennia, not always for the right reasons. Besides, ignorance is bliss, as my mother used to tell me. Sometimes I think she spent so much of her life trying to prove it. Sorry, Mum, if you're still listening. Ignorance is bliss, implying you either graduate Yale or remain a happy ignoramus for the rest of your life. Of course, at the same time at school, all the teachers are telling me that knowledge is power, implying if you don't graduate Yale, you will remain a powerless ignoramus for the rest of your life. There's a lot of words for everything: ignorance, bliss, knowledge, power. Trouble is, you can string them all together in the same mental through line. They don't always seem to make any sense. Paradox. That might be a word for it. Unless you believe you can be a blissfully powerful ignoramus. It's the poetry of life. You can always trust poetry. It doesn't have to make any sense. The facts have got nothing to do with it. Besides, the facts is always going to be a relative term depending on who's relating the facts. You either believe them or you don't. Choose your own fairy tale. It's a leap of faith, implying you're standing at the edge of a very high cliff. But you just take one small step forward for humankind in the right or wrong direction, fall into the abyss. At least you believe there'll be somebody down there to catch you. Possibly God, a couple of angels to lift you up to paradise. Paradise is a good word. I guess if we all believed in paradise, at least we'd all not really know what we're talking about. According to Mark Twain, there are only two certainties in this world: death and taxes. You're either dead or you pay your taxes to help keep this world safe and relatively comfortable for the rest of your life, in peace, or otherwise, depending how they choose to spend your taxes. They being the ones with a much firmer grasp on the realities of this world, thanks to their secret intelligence. Have you ever thought you might be secretly intelligent? There are some secrets you're not even telling yourself about the realities of this world. If you can't touch it, taste it, smell it, hear it, if it's not clearly visible to the naked eye, unless you've got glaucoma, in which case you may have to get yourself some glasses if you want to keep up with the times and keep up with the New York Times and keep in touch with reality. Which must tell us something about what reality really is. Adaptable, adjustable, can be issued by proxy for a price suitable for all occasions, non-debatable, undoubtedly disposable, unless you believe you've got no expiration date. Besides, only nothing really lasts forever. But who am I? Who am I to quibble? I'm nobody. Now there's a reality check. Try taking to the bank and exchanging it for a low-interest loan so you can buy some clean underwear. You're going to first have to prove you're somebody. Of course, as soon as you start proving you're somebody, you're already in the business of proving somebody else is nobody, and they're undoubtedly wearing dirty underwear, which is why you'll always know when nobody's around. Have you never thought you might be living in the wrong reality? Because you much prefer to be living somewhere over the rainbow where your heart is longing to be. Take me home, country road, but it's just a dream, shaboom, shaboom. Could turn into a nightmare at any moment should you forget to pay your taxes. There are dreams and there are nightmares, the one no more or less real than the other. And we must fight for our dreams and battle against our nightmares and wonder why the world can't seem to live in peace. Have you ever seen a dream walking away so fast you can only keep up with it in your nightmares? Have you never told nobody nothing they'll never regret? May as well tell a corpse they're not really dead and they need to pay their back taxes. Does anybody think that what they know is more than what they don't know? Does anybody think they cannot possibly know this? I sing the body eclectic, frenetic, fanatic, erratic, disputic, dyspeptic, dialectic, epic, pathetic, manic, moronic, psychotic, despotic, kinetic, dramatic, epic, tragic, comic, pathetic, cathartic, didactic, pedantic. So I could go on forever, though of course I never will. My horoscope for the day. If you use your time well, and your energy efficiently, people will know you're not someone to trifle with. Opportunity doesn't always knock. Any analysis not acted upon is but the mirage of a waterfall in the middle of a desert. At some point you have to decide and act upon that decision with quiet persistence. Be like the oyster crafting a pearl from sand. Consider joining a symphony orchestra or a church choir. It will help you blend in. Ignore all those who compete with you from the sidelines. Always cherry pick and never obsess over an obsession. Update all your prescriptions, develop communication skills, and let go of anything that doesn't offer you wiggle room. Never wear suits that too closely match the wallpaper. And remember, humor is not an option, it is a requirement. On the day I was born, I first knew the horror, the wonder, the love, the beauty, and the fear of being alive in this world. On the day I died, the only fear left was having to say goodbye to it all.